Welcome back, everybody. And today we're going to be talking about gems. Why gems are super important, especially when the devs were talking about dungeon mutations coming out soon, which means that it's just going to get harder and harder for you guys to do dungeons. So therefore, you want to equip yourself with as much things as possible. So I'm going to go over three quick things. Well, not really quick, but I'm going to go over three quick things that will help you guys out. Number one, socketing gems into the correct slot for your weapon. Number two, socketing gems onto your correct armor. That's really going to help. And three, just food buffs. That's going to help as well. So the first one I definitely think is going to be the most powerful for everyone is that if you guys don't socket the proper equipment for the appropriate monsters, you're going to do a lot less DPS. So example, I have the arcane on this weapon for the void gauntlet, right? So when I'm fighting any corrupt guys right here, I'm going to be doing an extra, I think 30% more damage. So that is going to make me do a lot more damage and I can down the guys quickly before they down me, right? So I'm going to show you guys a chart in a second that basically goes over what everyone is. So like right here, we have, I'll be linking this in the description below. We have all the different damage types, right? So you guys can find what you are. Slash, you can see right here, thrust, strike, ice, fire, nature. Nature is actually life staff. I did not know that, but yeah, life staff right there. And next, we're going to go over what your category does for DPS and what they're weak against for DPS. So currently, I'm the Void Gauntlet, right? And I do 150% damage to any ancient people, right? I do 100% against angry, I do 100% against corrupt, and I do 60%, which is really bad against the loss. Like super bad. That's horrible, right? So, and then 100% for beast. Everyone does 100%. There's no gems that you can socket, but only thrust guys like musketeer and bows and spears can they can do that, the 120%. So basically what I'm going to go is through every single category and increase the DPS, right? So we could get up to 30% more DPS by actually socketing the appropriate gem. So right now, lightning, I could actually add lightning and I can do 130% against ancients, which is the max amount of damage I could possibly do. Here, against angry, I just throw on fire. I throw on arcane against corrupt, and the loss I just throw in nature. So that brings me up quite a bit for all of them for DPS. And the way you do the math, I think, is how you do it is that you do 130 minus 115. That's basically your added DPS, I believe. So, but yeah, most cases you're going to go up by pretty much 30% on most of them, and it's going to help you guys quite a bit. So yeah, that is that for that guy. And so now that we have the weapons done, what I do recommend to do is that whenever you're fighting monsters, make sure that you equip the appropriate guys to the appropriate scenario, right? So the corrupt, I'm going to obviously do that. If I'm finding ancients, which are going to be in this area, I could just travel from here to here and fight the ancients, and then I'll do my full out DPS, right? So mind you, this can get costly, especially if you're equipping every single type of weapon, but I do think it's quite worth it. Yeah, it is quite worth it, but you guys don't have to do that. You just have to work with what you got, right? So, but I do highly recommend having a set for everything. So second step, we're going to go over gemming for your armor and how to basically do get absorption onto your armor, right? So what I really like to do, so say I'm finding the corrupted, and say especially the musketeers and the spear guys are destroying me like crazy. I think they are thrust. I think they're thrust, right? I believe they're thrust. So if I wanted to not die as quickly, I would put these gems onto my armor, right? And there's also some physical as well. So I'll be basically making half and half, right? Probably a little bit more physical because there's a lot more physical guys there. So just putting that onto my armor, right? So you can see is 2.5 physical absorption, so I'll be putting it onto all this armor. And you can also do that for your amulets as well and your rings. So you could throw that on there as well. So you can see 3.8 fire absorption right here. More absorption, the better, so that way you don't die. So any tank will love to do this and just to really protect themselves. Highly recommend not to have, like, if you're doing dungeons, highly recommend not to have any luck. So that way, like, it's just gonna keep your team alive a lot longer, and therefore the healer doesn't really have to work his butt off, right? So, but that stuff will really definitely help you guys out. Ideally, what might actually happen is that, say your guild is running an instant, it might be good just to have a set of gems in your hand that you could just swap back and forth, right? So example, like if you're doing like, I don't know, like, I guess going over to like Midgard or something like that, might be good. Whatever enemies that you're really weak against, like say you're weak against the fire mages or something like that, or really get weak against any physical attacks, use any of these gems. Read the gems that you're weak against, and then just put it onto your socket. So it's going to be the second one, the physical, right? So if you're fighting against any melee people, right? So yeah, that's basically the second one. And the third one that I do recommend, if you guys want to do like a little bit more DPS, if I can find a cooking station somewhere. There we go. So if I do recommend is that if you guys want to add a little bit more, this is just like a quick bonus. Cooking station. Oh god. Level 2. Is to have like your profession maxed out to 200 and to be crafting anything that can help you guys out for DPS or healing or just constitution in general, which is just HP and stuff like that. This will also help you guys out as well. Highly recommend to put on your cooking gear when you're doing it, set, so that way you can craft extra pieces, so that way you can make things last a little bit longer, right? So that is pretty much it. The food is actually quite an important component when you're also doing dungeon runs, because that's going to 100% be a really important thing that's going to be coming into the mutations. You're going to be required to be crafting those food as well. So yeah, those three things are really just going to really drastically help you guys out in doing any dungeons or just playing on PvE as well. So PvP is a little bit different. PvP usually just stays the same for the most part, so that's kind of it. You know, you can't really balance it out too much because there's so many different types of casters, melee and blah blah blah, so you can't really combat that too much. But that guide and sheet I just showed you guys, you can kind of prevent yourself against certain types of guys that you really die quick against. So against the fire mage, guess what? You're gonna put fire absorption on your armor, and that will help you out drastically, so you don't get one-shotted or two-shotted, right? So yeah, that's pretty much it for this guide. I hope you guys like this video. Make sure that or dislike the video as well. Make sure that you hit the bell notifications of upcoming content as well. I make tons of new world guides, also other videos as well, like Halo and stuff like that. So subscribe to that, and that way you guys are first. And then I will see you guys in the next video, and take care.